Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right on, guys. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host here, John Harcar, and we're here today with Chris Lloyd. And what we're going to talk about is setting you up for success. We'll dive into that in a minute, but remember, guys, with Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, really all real estate entrepreneurs, 2 to 5x your business. And we do that by providing tools and resources to really help you grow the business you want to grow and in turn live the life you want to live. So Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited about, and we talked before we got on the air about how you like to lift people up, right? You like to help people get there, and that's where our title, Setting Up for Success, came in. But before we get into the weeds here, tell us and our audience a little bit about you, your background, where you came from, what got you into real estate, and what got you here.
Sure thing. So I went off to college following, the old wisdom of, go to college, get a good education, good paying job, get a job with benefits, that
American
whole thing.
dream.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I went through the entire thing just like that. Graduated from the Virginia Military Institute and then took a job at a shipbuilder down in Newport News, Virginia. And so started getting, into that career. And one of the things that I noticed was I'm very forward thinking. And so I looked into retirement planning and saw what I was able to put aside and then did the math on average returns and was not happy with where that would put me up for retirement. So I started looking at other things, read the book. Sure, many of you all have read it, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Always.
And that got me hooked on real estate. So nice. I bought my first house hack deal. Those of you that don't know, house hacking is when you owner occupy a multiple unit property and rent out the other units to reduce your living expenses. I took the money that I saved, started using it for retirement. I was like, hey, this real estate thing's kind of cool. And so I decided to get my license after doing that deal and launched my real estate agent business. And now I've been doing that for about 4 years coming up here in June. I'm a real estate broker in southeastern Virginia. And we just launched our real estate team focused on helping investors get started in the investing space. And of course, we do retail as well.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's go back a little bit. So you're not liking your returns or what your retirement age was going to be. What did it put your retirement age at? Just curious.
Shoot. I think I was looking at retirement age of about 65.
And what was your target?
My target, or where it said I was going to end up, was about 1.5 million saved up for retirement. And even nowadays, that's tight. So I figured, hey, with the way that this economy's going, that's really not going to be good for me by the time I'm 65.
Okay.
And so the math wasn't mathing for me, and I needed to figure out something else.
And you picked up Rich Dad, Poor Dad, just like pretty much everybody who's listening to us has read that at least once. And how did you go out and find this house? How did you know how to go out to find it? Rich Dad, Poor Dad doesn't teach you really how to go out and market and get in lead gen and do all that. So how did you learn that step?
So that was kind of funny. So when I was exiting college, I had been reaching out to people that graduated from my college for advice on, what to look for when entering the job market. And then also I was trying to track down the people on LinkedIn that were in the recruiting areas of different companies that I was applying for, and I came across this guy.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Tom, and he was a graduate of VMI as well, and he was working in real estate. And I talked with him a little bit about real estate, and he told me it was, primarily commission-based. And me, with the old wisdom that I had been raised up on, was like, oh, well, that doesn't sound very stable. And I kind of just wrote it off until I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, talked about real estate. And that was really the only guy I ever talked to about real estate. So I reached back out to him. I said, hey, you know this Rich Dad Poor Dad book? And he said, yeah, that's pretty much what I do for a living.
Right.
And he said, I was like, well, how do I get started? And he said, plain and simple, get a house that you can utilize to reduce your living expenses, because that's going to be your #1 expense in life. So that'll be step 1. Owner-occupant financing. You can use just about any real estate agent for this strategy, but he told me, I recommend that you go to a platform that we probably all know or are very familiar with, BiggerPockets, and find an agent on there. So that's exactly what I did. I talked to the agent. I said, look, I want a 2, 3, 4 unit property. I've pre-qualified for a conventional loan at this amount, and I bought it. Plain and simple. I really didn't know a whole lot about real estate. Relied heavily on my agent. I had a fantastic agent at the time. This is before I had my license. She walked me through the process, and I felt very well taken care of. And that deal is super fruitful today. Extremely happy with it. And at the end of the day, over the years, I've learned buying real estate and waiting is extremely important. And so I've seen all kinds of benefits because everyone sells cash flow. Everyone sells cash flow in this business. However, I did buy in 2021, and what that did for me is in the whole run-up, I saw the true power of appreciation. Now, I know that the last 3 years were a little abnormal. However, those 3 years of that crazy appreciation showed me, hey, cash flow is really how I keep this asset alive. But the true benefit and the true wealth creation, in my opinion, is appreciation.
Yep.
Me in the long term, the reason I got into real estate was for saving up for retirement. And the equity I have in just my first property is pretty significant and a lot further along than where my 401k would have been in corporate America. Yeah.
So now that you have this house hack, and just so people know, like, so when you're house hacking, I mean, did you rent them all out and it covered all your expenses?
So when I started, yes. Back in 2021, you could do that.
Yeah.
The landscape of this strategy has changed over the last couple of years. And one of the things that, a lot of our investors have to do, they can't just find a deal. I just found that deal. I rented out one side and was living for free pretty easily.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do a whole lot. Nowadays, when we're working with our clients on these type of deals, we have to coach them on how to make a deal, not find a deal. You have to find the hidden opportunity in the deal, and you have to execute on that plan. So ways that we do that is we actually have a spectrum that we sit down with our investors when we first bring them on, like our entry-level house hack investors, and we say, look, there is an inverse relationship between how comfortable you want to be and how profitable you will be. And so the 3 main things that we look at is 1, rental strategy. So are you going to rent by the room? Are you going to do a single family with ADU, or are you going to do a straight multifamily? So by the room is going to be the most uncomfortable. You're living with your tenants. However, it's typically the most profitable. A single family with accessory dwelling unit, it's usually less profitable, but you still have a little bit more privacy. True. And then a traditional multifamily is the least profitable, but you get the most privacy, and the utilities are usually set up to account for multiple families living in the same property.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
And for those of you that don't know, 2 to 4 unit properties have become so expensive over the last couple of years simply for this reason. People are looking for a discount on their living expenses.
Yep.
And you're looking at these assets saying, why would I ever pay that price? That's negative cash flow. But the owner occupant is saying, hey, I'm only coming out of pocket $600 a month. My next best alternative is studio apartment for $1,400 right up the road.
Right.
So for them, it's a win.
Right.
Financially. And so that's
Right.
the first category.
Mm-hmm.
The next category is what is your lease length? Are you doing a short-term rental, a mid-term rental, or a long-term rental? We all know long-term rental is the most comfortable. You don't have to furnish it, and it's a long lease, but
Right.
low payoff. Short-term rental is the exact opposite, where you have a lot of turnover. It's like you're running a business. It's more uncomfortable, but it's more profitable, and mid-term rental is pretty much in the middle.
Right.
And then the last one is rehab level. If you're willing to basically take it down to the studs and truly make something beautiful, you'll be able to make more money. You made the opportunity, you built the equity. But if you want something that is a fully rehabbed, brand new LVP, granite countertop, stuff like that, someone else built the value.
Yeah.
You're buying the product, so you have to acknowledge the fact that you're not going to be as profitable. So if someone comes to me saying, I need a fully rehabbed, top to bottom, multifamily property that I want to do long-term rentals on, we have a serious heart-to-heart conversation and say, well, because this is a very easy route, you cannot be expecting a whole lot of profit.
Right.
Here's some other ways in these 3 different tiers that we can say, hey, are you willing to get more uncomfortable in one of these 3 tiers? And it puts them onto a scale, and we typically see profit coming in around the 5 or 6 on a 1 to 9 scale.
Well, I think that too, that's where a lot of people get over their head when they're getting into stuff, is that they don't have that knowledge of what is their threshold. Like, do they want to have that
Yes.
easy, but the understanding that might not make as much, or do you want to put your blood, sweat, and tears into something that you can be more profitable for? So
Absolutely.
what prompted you to just start up a brokerage?
So I did not start up a brokerage. I am an associate broker with my
Okay.
current
All right.
brokerage. Yes.
Got it.
But
Okay.
I do have a real estate team.
Got
What really prompted me to start it up, honestly, I had such a good real estate agent on my first deal. I wanted to become one. And at the end of the day, I think that just seeing what she was doing, I wanted to basically implement, throw my own spin on it, and help more people like me and really dive deep into that. And I was also pretty unhappy with the job that I had. I was working with great people at the shipyard.
Yeah.
But I was not passionate about the work, and I was passionate about real estate. I had got the bug doing the deal.
You got bit by the bug, man.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, I got into real estate sales because I just wanted to do it more than I wanted to do my other job. Now, one of the trade-offs of that is now you're a 1099 independent contractor, and financing is more difficult to obtain. And so I did take that on, but at the end of the day, I was so unhappy with the job that I had. I didn't really care about the fact that it would be easier to invest. I wanted a better quality of life overall.
Right. No, that makes sense. Tell me about some of the challenges, struggles, or mistakes you made when you first started in real estate.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's plenty of them. So I think one of the biggest things was a lot of real estate agents, when they come in, their broker and their initial training is going to talk to them about the real estate roller coaster. And the whole concept of the real estate roller coaster is a lot of real estate agents will prospect, and then they'll get the client. They're super excited about the client. They get them under contract. They're focused on the contract all the way to the closing table. They get paid, and they turn around, and they're like, oh, shoot, I don't have any more business.
Stop the marketing.
And then they start prospecting again. And so it keeps going up and down. And so one of the things that I learned early on, my first hire very early on, I had only done about 3 transactions before I hired a transaction coordinator. Because I realized I was spending so much time doing non-dollar producing activities. These activities are necessary, but it's not bringing new business into the...
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Company.
Correct.
So I hired a transaction coordinator to handle anything that did not require a license to get that contract to the closing table. What that did was open up my time so that I could focus more on being known, being liked, and getting people under contract, because those are the highest dollar producing activities in my business, is bringing new business in the door and putting them under contract. I don't need to be in, the coordination side of my business.
Right.
If I go over to the coordination side of my business, I'm losing time on being known, being liked, and putting people under contract. That's my job. And that's what most real estate agents struggle with, is realizing what their job is. Does that make sense?
No, 100%. What other challenges or maybe mistakes or pitfalls people should look out for when they're getting into the business? Any part of investing or real estate.
Paid lead generation. There is a lot of junk out there. You will be sold, and I had been sold very early on, saying, "Hey, we're gonna give you this many leads," and new real estate agent, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, was looking at these like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have 25 leads a month. I can definitely convert 3 of them.
Yeah.
We signed the contract. I'm paying them, $1,000 a month. These leads come in and they're like, I never filled out a form. Or how'd you get my number? Or bad email, bad phone number. As soon as I call them, go boop, boop, boop. And then I reach out to the lead source and they're like, well, we got you the information. We're upholding our end. We said 25 leads. We didn't talk about the quality. And I was like, wow. I didn't read that. And that was on me. And I have to take ownership of that. Is I did not properly vet my paid lead sources. I still do paid leads, and I do very well with paid leads right now. That's what I've built a good portion of my business on. But the reason why I am good with paid leads now is because I made some expensive mistakes early on paying for these lead sources that nearly put me under. And I almost had to go back to my old job.
So how does someone vet the lead provider? What are some of the best questions to ask?
One of the main things that I always ask is, can you give me an example of what these leads fill out before coming to me? Because if they're just filling, I personally don't like paid lead sources that are like, hey, fill out this list and we're going to put you on a custom search of properties, and then you get the phone call from a couple of agents, hey, I saw you were looking at properties, I want to put together a custom list. I personally don't like those.
Yep.
My paid lead sources, what we do is, I am in investing. That's my primary niche. I work with well-known education platforms in the real estate investment space as a trusted service partner of theirs, so that I am niched within my advertising. So when these people are filling out their lead forms or whatever, it's not off Facebook, it's not off Google. Those are more numbers games. There's money to be made in those type of lead sources. But I'm getting my lead sources from, say, less publicly known sources, but more trusted. Those leads trust by affiliation, because I specialize in an area that helps them get the product that they're being taught how to obtain. So that's how we have really gone into it, is what are the lead forms that they're filling out, and what's the relationship that's kind of built? Or when they fill this out, am I a cold resource for them, or am I a trusted resource through the platform that they filled out this form on?
Yeah, I was always told or what to do is, like, when you have those forms, if they get into, like, if they're multiple, they're longer forms, those people are going to be more genuinely interested or want to, because they're filling out. if it's just name, address, email address, I mean, doesn't show really intent by that person that, you know, to fill out more questions. You know what I mean?
Correct. That's exactly the problem we were running into with our early lead sources. Our early lead sources, that was exactly what they did. And yeah, we got numbers, but it was an extremely low conversion rate.
Right.
And when I first started, I was still at the shipyard, so I was like, "Hey, what's a way for me to get a higher return on my investment?" And I was looking at it from both a time and monetary standpoint because I was looking to move it full time.
And you want to make the best effective use of your time, not calling a bunch of dead leads. So that makes 100%.
Exactly.
I get that 100%. So, who is your target avatar? Like, who's your target client?
My target client personally, because I got started in the house hack strategy, I love working with new investors looking to implement the house hack strategy. And we've actually had multiple house hack investors do successful investing, and then graduate to other types of investments. So I like the house hack strategy because it's very difficult to fail doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a low cost of entry. It teaches you how to be a landlord. And in the absolute worst case scenario, you have a roof over your head on a mortgage that you qualified for and you were able to make the payments on. There's very few real estate investments that have that as the bottom of the barrel result is
the worst downside.
You have a roof over your head. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you have to live somewhere.
Right.
So it's a very low risk investment, but I think it's very high reward because most people's largest living expense is their housing.
Yep.
Why not utilize your own personal situation to reduce your living expenses? Because, many of the platforms, the investing platforms say after all expenses are paid, good cash flow on a base hit deal is $100 to $200 a month, right?
Right.
Well, what if I could teach you to house hack and reduce your largest living expense by $1,000 a month? Would you rather make an additional $100 or $200 per month or save an additional $1,000 a month? You tell me what helps you get ahead financially faster. That's why I love this strategy.
It's a no-brainer. I mean, that makes sense. So are you targeting people that are actively looking to learn how to house hack, or are you just kind of talking, say, hey, investors out there, this is another tool in the toolbox or something like that?
I am primarily targeting people looking to get into real estate investing. Most real estate investors that have already kind of gotten the ball rolling and are successful aren't necessarily interested in getting into the house hacking strategy for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
But new investors that are willing to make the sacrifices needed to get forward. We work with actually a lot of recent college graduates. Financially savvy, recent college graduates that were in the very same position that I was after I got out, and they just did the math and they were like, hey, this thing's not working. They read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They go to, these real estate investing education platforms, and learn about the house hacking method. And so when we're running our ads, we are putting house hack specialists. We are so niched down that people see that keyword, and if they're interested in it, they don't see agents advertising, hey, I specialize in house hacking everywhere. So our lead conversion is very strong because we identify ourselves as a specialist in a very niche field. Now, on the flip side of that, we're not talking to near as many people, and so we're just another fish in the barrel, if you would, for just your regular retail buyer. We still work with them. We do. Mm-hmm. We go to networking events and everything like that, but our advertising dollars, our advertising time, we're focused on getting in front of investors and new investors. So one of the biggest things we do is we network. We go to the real estate investor associations in our area. And even on my team, I require our team members to go to at least 2 a month.
I like that.
That is a team requirement for any Chris Lloyd real estate team agent, is that they have to go to 2 networking events at minimum per month. And of course, we encourage more because new investors are told to go to those meetings.
Yep.
And that is a great place.
That's where that's where your target is.
Exactly. So we spend our time there, and then online we spend our money becoming trusted referral partners for trusted investor education networks.
I love it.
Yep.
Real quick, let's talk about what what the title of this was, Setting You Up for Success.
Yeah.
And I know it's something you're passionate about. So kind of tell folks, talk about your passion, man. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. So setting people up for success is something that we really, take near and dear. When you come to us and we're trying to set you up for success, we're going to look at your entire picture, what your skill sets are, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do. And if you just come to any run-of-the-mill real estate agent, they're going to ask for your pre-qualification, how much cash you have in the bank to see if they need to get you concessions or not. You come to us, what we do is we take a look at, okay, here's your pre-qualification, here's how much you have in the bank, what does that mean, right? So the first thing that we're going to ask is, okay, we'll just run through an example. I'll throw some numbers out just for easy example. You have $20,000 in the bank, and you're looking to house hack. I immediately am thinking, okay, for the average home price, $10,000 is going to be your down payment, and the other 4% for your $20,000 is going to be wiped out by closing costs. So I'm going to recommend to the client, hey, I know you can afford and close on this home with how much money you have in the bank. I don't want you to, though. What I want you to do is consider the fact houses break. Like, stuff breaks.
Yeah,
that's just
right.
That's home ownership. We need to make sure we get seller credit so that you have money in the bank to weather the storms as they move forward. Yeah. Because just because the water heater inspects just fine on inspection day, that doesn't mean it can't burst 2 months down the line.
Yep.
You need to have reserves. So one of the things that we always talk with our new investors about is, don't just focus on the property and its performance. Focus on your financial situation and make sure you can float it if, things go sideways. Yeah. Because things do. My first deal that I did, my first house hack that I did, the main sewer line collapsed 2 months into the purchase. And I was lucky that I had an agent that asked me those questions and set me up the same way that we like to. I modeled my business very similarly to hers.
Right.
In terms of, hey, she was like, hey, stuff breaks. Home ownership is difficult. I wasn't expecting a whole main sewer line to go.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Sewer line, too.
It
was an 80-foot sewer line, so there was a lot of digging. It was an expensive job. And it opened my eyes and was like, thank goodness that she prepared me well, because in 2021, we had a hot market in Hampton Roads. She very well could have advised me, hey, there were 3 other offers on the table, too. She said, hey, she could have been like, hey, we need to give them a list price offer. We can't ask for concessions. There's other competition on the table. She advised me, said, hey, look, here's how we can make your offer strong. I called them. We can satisfy them by closing on this date. In exchange, I recommend we ask for seller concessions to set you up, because we need to make sure you have money in the bank after you close, just in case.
Right. And that just in case happened.
And the just in case absolutely happened.
Yeah.
And so I really embodied that. And so when we take on new investors, it's not about how much money you have in the bank and what's your pre-qual. We ask, how much do you need in the bank after you close? Because stuff happens. And we need to set you up for success. Like, I don't want to sell a home and 6 months later someone call me up needing to short sale because they can't afford to upkeep their home. In my opinion, that would be a failure on my end. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Well, cool, man. If folks want to get in touch with you and talk about that, talk about the house hack, talk about and learn to do it, I mean, whatever, maybe just shoot the, about real estate with you. How do they get in touch?
Absolutely. So I'm on Instagram, Chris Lloyd, that's LLOYD _real estate. Shoot me a DM. Would love to chat. My contact information is also in my bio. You can reach out to me over text or phone call. It would probably be best to shoot me a text and see what time I'm free. We can get you on the calendar and chat about different options.
Sweet. Man, hey, guys, I hope you guys took a lot away from today. I mean, I love the house hack strategy. I wish I would have done that back in the day. It's really hard to do it with an 8-year-old now. But right. I hope you guys took some good notes. And Chris, again, thank you so much for being on here and sharing your experience and your knowledge. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.